Hey guys, welcome to my very first TreeBark tutorial. In today's video I will show you how to build your own custom HMHS Britannic. Before we begin, I would like to give a quick shout out to amerciaball, who recommended this idea to me. Remember that you can pause and rewind this video at any point if you need. To build the Britannic, you will need two Cobi Titanic models, the 1928 Executive Edition and the 1929 Standard Edition. Links for where you can buy these are in the description box below. Along with these two sets, you will also need a lot of long straight white pieces, a lot of thin white pieces, and a lot of angular and sloped white pieces. Also required are long strips of green pieces and some straight and sloped red blocks. I got some of my white and red pieces from the 2518 Maltier Ambulance and the 2511 Panther. However, these are now sold out. Some of the other pieces came from sets such as the 1917 Concorde and the 5801 Mirage. Most of my pieces did come from random pieces that I had in bins, as well as cannibalizing some pieces from other sets. As you can see, this will be on the expensive side of a typical MOC, my own creation or customization. My main tip to you is to scroll or watch the entire video to see what you'll have to do and need if you proceed with this. The worst thing is to sacrifice some sets, pieces, time, and stress for a half-built Frankenstein beast that you'll just have to give up on. Here's some good advice for life. Always understand what you'll have to do before you agree to do it. Now for the build. The first step is to build both Titanic models. Once you do that, gently take off the bottom red section of the Executive Titanic. You will need this for later. Now from the standard Titanic, take off the entire black and only the black midsection of it. Again, do this carefully and place all pieces in a pile to the side. Once that is done, you will need to get out your white, red, and green straight pieces. Start by placing down one layer of thin white pieces on the top. Next, add a layer of straight white bricks. However, leave a 2-stud wide gap in the middle. Fill this with a red brick. Next, add another layer of thin white pieces, leaving a 4-stud wide gap in the middle. Fill this gap with a red brick. After that, add a green layer, thin, leaving one space between it and the red brick. The midsection will be the only part of the ship that is a green stripe, due to it being not possible to fit in using bricks in the bow and the stern. However, you can add it on using taped on paper or even just paint it on. Next, add another thin white layer. Fill in any gaps between the white layer with a single thin piece. Now place another layer of white bricks beneath it, leaving a 2-stud wide gap which you can fill with another red brick. Now finish the midsection with a thin white strip. Now it gets more complex. Moving on to the rear of the ship, you will need to remove all black pieces from it. However, do not remove anything that isn't black. Be careful when doing this because you will need the other pieces after this. Once that is done, you will need to replace this rectangular section up here with some white pieces. Afterwards, begin to add some slight sloped pieces, working from the midsection to the aft. You will have to adjust some of the pieces that the sloped white bricks will be attached to, as the levels may not match. Try to do your best to keep it similar to my model. However, feel free to alter it depending on what pieces you have available and if you have any different styles or ideas on how to build it. When you get below the first crane, you will need 2 1x1 red pieces, 1 sloped red piece, and 1 curved or sloped red piece. This will involve some fiddling in order to get the right shape, and use these photos and videos as a guide is a bit confusing and complex to describe. After doing that, continue to steadily add all the pieces in using both these videos, photos, and the original Titanic model as a guide. Once you accomplish that, take your rudder and swap the black pieces with white pieces. Note that my model and rudder may look different than what yours and the original Titanic model look like, as I have taken my ship apart and used it for my singular Britannic movie, so it has been fiddled with more than yours is. You can now return the bottom part from your executive Titanic to the Britannic. We are now going to move on to the hardest part of this build, the bow. The bow is going to have to be built completely from scratch. Begin by removing the blackened top pieces of it. Save those for later. Now for my version, we will have to use several tricks and techniques as well as using some sticky tack. But as always, you can always improve upon this with your own version. Most of this will be based on photos here, but I will give some general guidance as well. What you'll have to start with is the frame. Build this out from the middle of the ship. Make sure to use long pieces and ensure that they are secured in place. Model it on the photos and videos provided as well as the original Titanic bow to see how it curves in. Notice where I stop each outer layer in order to accommodate the decrease in width as the bow proceeds. Once you have the skeleton or frame of it set up and secured, add these pieces from your extra Titanic model to the top and bottom of the frame with a total of 3 layers in between. Get 2 slight sloped 4 stud long white pieces and some thin 4 stud long pieces and build it out until the sloped bricks are flush with the rest of the hull. It may not be perfect, but it just has to be the best you can get. Next, get 2 slight sloped white bricks and repeat that process until it is flush with a 4 stud long brick. Now do the same with the slight 2 stud long brick, then with the extreme 3 stud slope brick. Unfortunately, for the way that I built the bow, I couldn't connect it to the rest of the ship in the normal way, so I cheated and just used sticky tack to connect it. For the front of the bow, you'll need these pieces shown here and assemble them as shown. Now for the front deck, all that you need is to build the frame up to where the deck was on the original model. Then simply place some tan pieces onto the top with varying slopes to match the shape of the hull. As for the detail on the bow deck, you can take the detail from the original bow deck and now transfer that onto this bow. For me, I only use smooth plates on the deck, so I had to resort once again to sticky tack, but you can always use studded bricks and connect it the organic way. Now for the finishing touches, using the extra cranes from your second Titanic, you can add those to the main deck as shown here. You can either use studded pieces from your second Titanic to attach them, or you can go with sticky tack. Sticky tack is also needed for adding the anchor to each side of the bow. Also on the bow, I added a little name tag, which is just a taped on piece of paper saying Britannic. I swapped the main smooth pieces on the main deck with extra studded pieces on the second Titanic so I could spread the lifeboats out more accurately. For the lifeboats on this, I got them from Cobi's other ships, but you can do the same thing with the lifeboats that come with the 2 Titanics. Sticky tack is required for stacking the lifeboats on top of each other, and the required spaces and making sure to swap the top black pieces on each funnel with the orange piece on the second Titanic. Returning to the stern of the ship, using some spare white pieces from the second Titanic and some sticky tack, you can create the extra covering that the Britannic had and can place some lifeboats on top of it. The last thing you have to do is remove the flags from the mast in order to make it more accurate to the real-life Britannic. And now you're done. Congratulations! I hope that this was useful to all of you, and let me know your thoughts on this, and feel free to leave any and all questions in the comments section down below. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to TreeBark and hit that like button. Even if you hated this video, still like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon.